Hello. Hello, my family. He's got notes. I come bearing the gift of notes. So let's all gather on in. Let's go gather on in on this journey. We're going to be having one of those conversations today that it's not always fun for Alexander to have. But we didn't come here to do what was fun. We came here to do what we needed to get done. We came here to work together to get to new levels of ascension so we could help the rest of humanity get to new levels of ascension in the physical, mental, and spiritual realms. So welcome back to another episode of Galactic Tarot. Just waiting for the people to gather on in right now. So welcome. We got some people here. Let's get real. All right, so quick intro. What are we talking about today? I want to be talking about the usage of certain medicines that people are using, the things that people are calling medicines. I want to talk about true happiness, mental alchemy. Some more information will be coming through from Thoth today. Some things that I've been working with this aspect of the self, our brother, the messenger, Mercury himself, Hermes, Trismegistus, talking about overusage of certain things and underusage of certain other things. So without further ado, I want to go back through just a little bit of validation that I was sharing with, oh, excuse me, I forgot my coffee. I have to go get that at some point. Have to go through a little bit of, or get to go through a little bit of physical validation, astrological validation of what's been taking place. So many of you have been watching the channel for quite a while. So you know that before two new moons ago, I told everybody that we were having a new moon coming that was very, very epic. I didn't realize how epic this new moon was. So with the full moon that led into this is so fascinating to me. The patrons know this a little bit more, but on March 6th, I was asked to go into a very deep meditative state. And on March 6th, I found this whole trident thing, which I'm not going to go over again. If you watch the recent videos, you'll hear that I was speaking about this. So the fact that March 7th, what they were having me do, this whole trident thing with the ocean, is not only this full moon in Pisces, which was this epic alignment, but also Saturn finished a very long transit, a 3-year transit, that if we look at what was going on in the world when Saturn entered its most recent transit, that was when the world started to go sideways, upside down. Certain things needed to flip. Certain things that were shifting in physicality without saying the name, without saying this whole crown of thorns thing that took place for humanity. Now we see that this is done. We see that what has taken place is this whole healing and transmutation. But how long this healing and transmutation is going to take the individual is up to you. This is something that we're all shifting now. So the fact that on the full moon, let's just talk about this for just one quick second. On the full moon, on this exact day of March 7th, also Saturn switched signs. When Saturn has very long transits, not incredibly long, but at least 2.5 to 3.5 years, it takes Saturn to go from one sign to the next. So the fact that that fell exactly on the full moon is a miracle in and of itself. The personal miracles of the fact that I was doing all this stuff under the ocean and all this stuff that was taking place, whether or not this is in my own mental, spiritual reality and I make the effect upon myself, which then causes these effects on my outside reality, that's beside the point. I know that the work that I do gets validated through these means. So I just wanted to share this with you guys before I really got into the meat and potatoes of today. So, all right, so now we have this first alignment. But now that was the full moon. What Spirit really told me was the new moon. This next new moon was very important that we were all manifesting. What we manifested during this next new moon, Spirit told me how important this was, to the fact that I went live. Again, I just randomly, like, sneak attack surprise when it went live during the new moon, when I saw that on 321 the new moon was at 123, at least the time zone that I'm in. It was at 1023. So to see this whole 321 on 1023, I was just like, that's a miracle. But I didn't even know until a week later. I am not an astrologer. I know a lot about the gemstones and about astrology, and my spirit team has taught me about things that most astrologers don't watch. I'm fascinated by Pluto. I'm fascinated by the 12th house. And maybe fascinated isn't the best word. I'm still breaking that word down. It doesn't feel good as I say it. Intrigued, maybe? I have awareness that's being sent towards these things in the past, other aspects of myself. We have a lot to do with this language, my family. That's a conversation for another day, or maybe it'll come up today. Thank you for being here. So now, during the month of March, on March 7th, during the full moon, Saturn changes signs, this massive planet in our solar system. But on 323, okay, so we were talking about the analemma. I have this brief video that's on the channel that I talk about this 12 days, because everybody talks about the solstice and the equinox. Everybody talks about this whole Christmas day, 1221, the day that humanity was supposed to ascend. Remember, 1221, 1222, 1223 to 1224, these whole 4 days here. But there's also this is split into quadrants. So there's the 1221, there's the 321, there's the 621, and there's the 921. And this is what I've been talking about. I talked about this on this analemma video, which is now months ago at this point. It was probably like, I don't know, it was warm that day. So I don't know, what was that, like 4 months ago or whatnot? Either way, it doesn't matter. Spirit tells me to bring your attention to this wobble, this analemma shape, okay? How we have one of these is 1221, one of them 621. These are the days where we celebrate. Once again, another terrible word. So if there's the 621, 1221, then there's the 921, 321. And these people haven't been looking at these as much, but these are very important days. So to have on this 3-day window of the 321, 322, 323, and even more fantastic validation. On 323, Pluto changed signs, and Pluto stays in the same sign for 20 years. And Pluto changed the sign into Aquarius. This is everything I've been talking about, my family. What was the trident? What did and does the trident represent in this past timeline? Controlling the sea life. That's what we were saying. That's what Spirit wanted me to tell and convey everybody. That's what humanity made it to this point where no life will be controlled anymore. Anybody who's trying to control life needs to change their way, or they're going to be shifting out of this reality. And they might not like the way that they shift out of this reality. This is not something I'm manifesting. This is just something how the reality works, where we made it to in this level of ascension. Okay? So this whole trident, the fish, the sea life, the cetaceans, the mermaids, these octopus beings being controlled by this device which no longer exists in this realm. It does not exist in the physical, the causal, the etheric, none of them. Aquarius, and I have this in my spiritual journal. It's not here today, but I have this drawing that Spirit had me draw, that as the signs progress backwards. So if you look in the Old Testament, it was all about Aries, it was all about ram horns and all this stuff. And then it went to the fish, Jesus feeding people with the 2 fish, the Jesus fish, the time of Pisces, the 2 fish. And then it's said that we enter the age of Aquarius, when the sun is in the 7th house and Jupiter aligns with Mars. This is the dawning of the age of Aquarius. Okay, the age of Aquarius is an air sign, but an air sign where the water is cutting the air. So multiple elements being used simultaneously. But what Spirit showed me years ago was that inside the picture was an aquarium. And this is where the fish were trapped inside. The two fish of Pisces were inside the pitcher. So to see that the fish were being freed, that's what Aquarius represented to me before December 21st, 2012. I was writing in this book back in 2010, 2009, and I wrote this down before the ascension process even began. And yes, of course, the ascension process had began at that point. But to see Pluto, the underworld, entering Aquarius, okay? Pluto, basically, the fish have been freed. The cetacean life has been freed. So this took place from March 7th to March 23rd. Two giant celestial bodies switch signs on the new moon and the full moon. I just want to point out the fact to you, my family, that these are mathematical improbabilities. They sound impossible. That sounds impossible, but it is possible, because here we are talking about these mathematical alignments, which make sense but don't make sense, okay? It makes sense, but it doesn't make sense. It makes sense because we know this to be true, because this is something that science has proven. But I just wanted to share that with you all, the work that we've been doing and these shifts that are happening within the self. We really need to step into our power right now, because we have it. It's right here. It's right here. But I'm going through my day-to-day, which I'm very grateful to do in this heaven and earth reality. And I'm seeing so many people think that they don't have the tools to find real happiness. So this is where I'd like to start the actual conversation. So let me just write down the time. 12:21. Shut your mouth. All the times I just said 12:21. I love this. I love this life. It's a miracle. I'm telling you guys, it's heaven on earth the second you realize it is. And internalize it is, and figure out, what do I need to do to take responsibility and work on my boundaries and my ownership, instead of pointing the finger outside and blaming. So let's talk about what used to work, because it doesn't work here. And I'm not saying this to trigger people. I'm saying this to empower you. The old way that we did things was, if we were sad, like, so let's put a little cow plop here. If we were sad, here would be the sadness. And we would put happiness on top of the sadness. We would put a smile on when we weren't really happy. We would pile all this happiness on top of the sadness. And we all do this. I'm sure there are moments where I'm still doing this now. We are not allowed to do this anymore. This doesn't work anymore. We can't put happiness on top of sadness. Let me explain why. Let's use science once again to explain why. Well, first of all, let's use a little bit of woo-woo. This has been said, it's a crystalline matrix. We're becoming made of light. We're entering this modality of becoming breatharians. We're becoming more crystalline in nature. So what is this sadness? The sadness isn't crystalline. Let's look at the sadness as a piece of coal. Now, what happens when you get coal and you put it under pressure? Put it under this pressure of happiness. Now, we're turning this into a diamond. We're having the ability to make this sadness crystalline when it doesn't have the opportunity or the option to be crystalline. We can't turn fear into crystal. We can't turn sadness into crystal. So this is something I've wanted to talk about for a while. And it's something that there's a healing process with this every day for myself. I mean, almost every day that goes by, like the second something's done, something new comes in. Like I was just sharing with my family the other day, which this is what I'm sitting with right now, just to because some people watch these channels and you watch spiritual people and you look at them like they're above you. None of them are. None of them are, because I see them all as lost. They're all lost. I see them lost, and like we're all needing to work together. And I can just promise you, there's nobody in that mode. So I want to humanize Alexander for a second, let you know what I just found the other day that I didn't know about on Saturday. I found Sunday morning. I found basically this whole victim mentality, but it coming from a distorted masculine and a distorted feminine. And I wasn't even planning on talking about this with you today. Spirit's just talking through me. Somebody out there needs me, or multiple people need me to humanize myself right now. So here I go. Here are the two distortions. Let's look at this pole. Okay, we'll get 2 points. This will be the masculine pole. This will be the feminine pole. Okay, and whatever. We'll put the distortions at the top. We won't even put them at the bottom. Okay, so these are the 2 levels of victimhood. All right. So there's this one level of victimhood, which will, whatever. It doesn't matter what's masculine or feminine. We'll call this the dark feminine, a distortion of victimhood. Why me? Poor me. Why is this happening? But there's this other distorted masculine level of victimhood that is, why would this happen to me? I am this god that has ascended other planets. Don't these sheep know? And now this doesn't come out of my mouth, but there are times that this distortion takes place in the mind. And you guys, I know I can feel some of you laughing right now because you know exactly what I'm talking about. When this distortion comes out in these 2 different ways, there's this, why is this happening again? Every time it gets to this time of year. And then there's this, they will pay for crossing the god of blah, blah, blah. These are both victim mentalities, okay? When really we need to flip the pole and be here. So I'm going to keep talking about this mental alchemy and this advanced hermeticism until you guys know how to do this yourselves. This is very, very important to me. But I wanted to normalize myself. I wanted to humanize myself for a moment and also leave you with this like whole, I don't have an answer for that. I'm still answering that myself. But I wanted to let you know that new things come up. That just came up on Sunday. I just realized that this distortion of victimhood has a masculine and a feminine. So I hope that helps in whatever manner it helps. And we can all heal this and work this out together and put the flashlight on this together and transmute this together and find the power in this, because there's obviously power in it or spirit wouldn't have brought this to my attention. Okay, so moving on. Putting the happiness on top of the sadness. This worked because we could shift the other people in our reality. I can't even tell you guys the days, 2013, 2014, I'm in Rhode Island. It's just day after day, a cloudy sky. And I'm like, Alexander, put a smile on your face. You're smiling and cheering up all these people in this gym. It's very, very important. So whatever's going on, your heart's hurting, you're sad, your teacher died, whatever it is, shake it off. Don't bottle it up. Don't turn it into cancer, but get rid of this for now and come back to it later. On my quest to becoming a master, on my quest to do this, I was like, I can't go in there and be like, how you doing, Alexander? I'm fine. No, that was somebody else's role back then. That wasn't my role. If people could really see, if they could really feel me, this is when I could learn the few people that could actually see through. You're always so happy, Alexander, and see that in those moments I wasn't truly, was I happy? Yes, of course I was. But was it real? Where was the happiness? Was the happiness piled on top of sadness? Yes, it was. So this is what I need to talk about, because this is running rampant all over spirituality. This is running rampant all over this planet. And we need to truly have some sort of at least mental structure of seeing it so we can start to heal this stuff. So we can start to maybe make the decision, I don't want to watch Galactic Tarot anymore, because this guy's leading me to the actual truth that the things inside of my body maybe don't want to hear, or whatever it is. We're not going to go into all the cleansing stuff, but cleansing is one of the ways that I did reach this information. You can flash the book again, just real quick. Seeing Gospel of Peace and the Kabbalion, 2 books you should have read already. I'm always talking about them. So we need to get the sadness. I'll use the blue pen to represent the emotion. We need to get the sadness and flip the pen, okay? And I won't do that this way because this is the up and down. So let's talk about, once again, he's going to be talking about fourth dimensional access, time, okay? The cube, okay? Up and down, forward and back, and left and right. So this pole, okay? This pole is a hologram. This pole is a hologram. So now I can go like this. Now science states, I'll have to use this. Let me hold it completely straight. How do I find there we go. I'll get it as straight as I can. Okay, so science states that 2D doesn't exist. You know, Nassim Haramein says the two dots don't exist because if I draw a dot and I draw a dot and I make a line for 2D, for binary, it has to exist on the paper. So the paper itself is the third dimension, the third density, because I can turn it sideways. But with the law of Hermeticism, with the information that comes from Thoth, Hermes, whatever, when I close my eyes, if you close your eyes for a second, you can make a dot, and you can connect them with a line, okay? What you've just done is created binary. You've just created a pole. You've just created 2D. You've created it inside the mind. All is mind in mental alchemy. All is mind in beginning and advanced Hermeticism. This is the first principle. Principles are laws. They are not theories, they're laws. Okay, so let's go back to this pole, because we need to learn how to flip the pole, or we need to at least be on the quest of flipping the pole, not this whole, this is sad, I need to pile happy over here. Like, because this doesn't work. The scales, this doesn't work anymore. This doesn't, and it, like I said, it did work. And it was this like sad, we can pile happiness on top and not be able to feel it. So let's talk about this once again. So I create the dot and the line in my mind, okay? Because we have to do a lot of this work within the mind, if not all of it, because all is mind, okay? So if I go dot like this and connect them with a line, this is 2D. This is a hologram. It's not until I get the hologram and turn it towards myself that I can see that it is 3D, okay? So this is proof that some of the science is off, saying that the first dimension, the dot doesn't exist. The dot does exist. I can create the dot, the two dots with a line. This only exists in your comic books. Freaking love Nassim Haramein. I'd love to have this conversation with him, but I can create this within my mind, Hermeticism. And like I said, I can turn the line and see the sides of the hologram. I can turn this. Okay, this is time. Okay, this is time. This is the front and back of the cube. This is the up and down, where we are with our mental altitude, attitude, to TUD at the end of the word of wherever that is. Solitude, being alone, soul, being the sun. Okay, I'll break down all these words for you, my family. I love you all so much. We're going to find more power. But this is where we are, tude. So we have a latitude, we have a longitude, we have a horizon, my family. What horizon is it that you're on? Are you on the horizon of fear and courage? Are you on the horizon of sad and happy? There's certain horizons that we're all on, or I believe that if we've truly transcended these to a certain state, would I even be here physically having this conversation with you anymore? That's a paradox in and of itself that I'm not even going to start to scratch the surface of today. But as I get to this pole and to see that sadness and happiness are on this pole, as I see that some of the things that are the poles and are on the poles make sense but don't make sense. If I have darkness and light, then all of these in between I can see. We can see. And some people with really good eyes can really see very well here and here. And then all in here, there's no difference. So this is like proof. The proof of the pole is proof that in all essence, the darkness and the light don't really exist. We need absolutes that are at the ends. We need absolutes, but there are no absolutes. So it's once again, it's like temperature. It's like if this is hot and this is cold. I was saying this the other day. If my most comfortable temperature is right here, you might be cold here. You might be hot here. I'm not the one who dictates what the proper temperature is. How many times have you been in the house with your lover or your beloved or mom or dad, and they're saying, "Oh, it's cold, it's hot," and you're like, you're bumping up the temperature, and they're bumping it down, and it's perception, my family. A lot of this stuff is perception. So to have this pole, I want to show you this pole once again, because this is Hermetic law. Okay, this is Hermetic law. This is cause and effect. Okay, and this is the horizon. This is the pole. We have to use law against law, the higher against the lower, to flip this pole. We do not defeat fear by putting courage on top of it, by just going, no, I'm not scared. I'm not scared. I'm courageous. I'm going to do this. Because as you're doing that, you're still in fear. And we all know this. The heart's still slamming. You might prove to yourself and switch some things within your mental circuitry that it did work out. But as you all know, when you forced yourself to do that thing that you were scared to do, you were still scared while you were doing it. This, I leave you this mental thought with this process to let you know that what I'm seeing of people putting happiness on top of their sadness, it's not going to work anymore. It's not going to work anymore. It doesn't work already. I already see this. I see this within myself. This is getting me to new places of breaking new grounds within my own mental. And when I break these grounds within the mental, my physical vessel shifts, my spiritual vessel shifts, and I'm able to access higher dimensional realities within the self. Not this whole, like, we're going to 5, and we're staying in 5. Like, come on. No, we have accessed multidimensionality. I don't want to start confusing everybody with all that information. We'll leave that for another day. Today, we're talking truly about happiness. I want to just also state right here, always ask your doctor before watching Galactic Tarot. I'm not telling anybody to get off their medications. I'm not telling anybody to stop their stuff with what I'm prefacing all this with. I want to talk to you about my belief structures, my views, and how I'm continuing to find more and more power in the present moment of the work that I am doing. I'm in no way, shape, or form telling people not to stop doing what they're doing, because now I want to talk about disassociating, because so many of my family members are disassociating. And I see so many people, I go here, I go there, and this is Sedona, my family. These are spiritual people. They know better. I know they know better. And it's I remember when I went to Austin, Texas, and everybody was walking around microdosing LSD. And now I walk around, everybody's microdosing mushrooms, and everybody's microdosing, which they don't even consider microdosing, macrodosing pot, and using all these drugs, okay? Because I want to talk about drugs for a second. And that's why I show the robot in the thumbnail. I show the mushrooms around him. And I know some people think these are medicines. These are medicines. Oh, there's all this research, Alexander. There's all this research. I get it. There is research. Yes, I get it. These are medicines. You're using, but let's look at it like this. To do a ceremonial substance, okay? To do a ceremonial medicine, not in ceremony, to go to work, to just get up and go out in public that day. That is not ceremony. This is not being run by a proper priest or shaman. And this is the equivalent of what I've been saying for a while. Look at 2 people already left. Two people already left, because people leave when I talk about this because they don't want to hear it. And it's fine. It's fine. I'm going to aggravate all those little buggers and worms inside of you until they come out of you. That's Alexander's goal. Because I see how I shifted, and I see how I continue to shift. And I know how difficult it was. I know how difficult it was for me to quit tobacco. I know how difficult it was for me to quit ganja. I know how difficult it was for me to quit 2 or 3 Stellas a week. I in no way, shape, or form did I think I had a drinking problem. 2 to 3 beers a week. family, we need to truly find our utility belt to truly be able to activate real happiness. We cannot put these things on top of the sadness anymore. So if you got to leave, you leave, and just know, and please just take some love with you and know I love you so much. And I'm not trying to bash people. I'm not bashing people. I'm bashing my old self so you can see that the what I used to do doesn't work here. It didn't work here. It hasn't worked here. I don't think it ever again will work here. I remember when my beloved showed up in my life, I told her, and I never have since then, but I told her, if I ever wake up in the morning and it's early in the morning, I don't care what my excuse is. If you ever see me going to smoke ganja in the morning, something's very wrong. Something's very wrong. I'm deeply depressed. I don't care if I smile and go, my tummy's a little upset. This is going, I got the day off and the next day off. I go, whatever I tell you is high order horse manure, and I need you to sit me down. Now, this never happened because I took that excuse away from myself. I share this with you because you have people that hold you accountable in your reality. You should, at least. Most of us do. If you share with somebody that holds you accountable because you hold them accountable, and you share with them, don't let me do this thing. Call me out on this. I'm letting you know, because this whole smoking in the morning, whether I was sad or not, it never happened again. It never happened again because I took that excuse away from myself years ago now, okay? I took that excuse away from myself. I can't be doing that. I know I can't be doing that. And why? I'll give you the perfect example. This is what's in the Native American peace pipe. What's the opposite of peace? Not war, okay? Because let's look at this poll for a second. Another realization Alexander's had. Every single one of the polls goes happiness, sadness, harmony, discord. And these are gods. These are archetypal functionalities of the reality. But for some reason, war, love, wouldn't the opposite of war be peace? So if Eris is the god of war, shouldn't Aphrodite be the goddess of peace, not love? Shouldn't the opposite of love be hate? Okay, so there's a discrepancy in the archetypal functionality of the stories. Somebody changed that, because every other archetype, the opposite is the same. They're consorts. And that's why you hear brother and sister in the stories being lovers, because a con means opposite, sort, the opposite of the sort. So like I was saying, the opposite of war would be peace. What if we look at war as action? Okay, just for a moment. This is what I've been doing, because I keep, and I've been doing with the patrons and people in sessions, to be able to shift war to be action. So what would the opposite of action be? Would be laziness, no action, immovable. Okay, sometimes we just got to move. Sometimes we just got to get up and go. Sometimes we got to go out into nature, get out of the house. What has that done for sadness in your life? When you are going through a sad moment, when you are going through something, when you left the house and went out into nature, tremendous. Trees, nature puts us back together. Tremend us. Okay, this is something we all know, and this is something that we weren't taught before your spiritual awakening. When you went through your spiritual awakening, when did you go through your spiritual awakening? Where did you go through your spiritual awakening? You didn't go see some healer and they led you through this thing, or they didn't show up at your house. No, maybe those things happened, but there were definitely moments of I have to be at the beach. I have to go to the creek. I have to go outside. I need to go hug a tree. I want to do this. And this is all stuff that during the 60s, oh, you tree hugging hippies, the first time everything got messed up. The first time everything got messed up with the indigos and I'm not trying to blame you guys. If you're from that generation, I'm not trying to blame you. I'm trying to put light on something that I'm watching happen now. I'm watching drugs, medicines. I'm watching these things that used in ceremony, used in the proper way. I'm sure that there can be many epic effects for people, but this is not peace pipe. The opposite of peace is action. You think the Native Americans woke up every day and started roasting a bull? Let's be real. There's 6 people left. That's fine. They don't want to hear it. They're worms. They're the things inside of them, the nanotech inside of them, why I put a robot surrounded by mushrooms, they don't want to hear it. That's fine. If you don't want to hear this, this is my process. This is what I know to be true. Click out, unsubscribe, take off. It doesn't matter. There's plenty of other channels where they're going to tell you to do these things that I know is not long-term, actual, successful mental shifts that allow you to truly come into contact with your divinity and allow you to truly take control over the mental, to truly take control over this physical. These forces and these old distorted energies, they want you lazy and high on pot all day. They want you microdosing mushrooms all day. These are not how any of this stuff was meant to be done. I'm not saying this to accuse. I'm saying this so you can sit with this. Maybe you'll sit with it. Maybe you'll just say, F Alexander, I unsubscribe, I'm out of here. Or maybe you'll sit with what I'm saying and you'll know, oh man, I've wanted to do that for a while. I've wanted to stop doing this for a while. And then you'll see that the reason you haven't been doing it is really because of the sadness. The sadness might really be because of some fear. And the fear might be because of something that happened when we were children, something that we originally disassociated with. I know that my original disassociation was video games. I would literally, like, while mom's in the background having a nervous breakdown, I'm in the TV. I was Link. I gotta save the princess. Oh, this bow and arrow isn't killing the pig demon. What's wrong with it? Oh, I gotta go get the silver arrow. And I get the silver arrow and I come back and I destroy the demon as an elf. Like, just even that. Even like just sitting with what was the thing that I went to as an elven starseed speaking to you right now was this disassociative nature of video games. Because what this leads me into now is healthy habits. And this is one of my newer realizations. Real eyes, Asian, a nation, a place of being. For many, many years, I've talked about healthy habits on the channel. Healthy habits like working out. How many thousands of times have me and everyone I've ever gone live with told you, go work out. You're sad? Go sit in the steam room. You're sad? Go work out. Why do you go work out? Because when I work out, what do? I create endorphins, dopamine, serotonin, and oxytocin. I love lifting. I'm going to continue to lift. But my view on lifting just within the past week or so had to shift. Some of your views with the level of power and the level of shift that we just got to with what just took place within these forces that were pretending to be mom and dad when really we're becoming great grandma, great grandpa right now, energetically, archetypally. My views are changing. They had to change. I had to see the BS in this. And now I am in no way, shape, or form telling people you're off the hook. You don't have to work out. Yeah, we do have to work out. It's the lens that I work out with. And let me explain this, please. I called this a healthy habit. But what was I actually doing? I would see that there was anger. I would find some rage. I would find some sadness. I would find some, what was the word I was using earlier? Victimhood. And I would cover these things with weight training. Because what would happen? I would be sad. Not every day. There's going to be days I woke up sad or angry. And then I'd go to the gym and I'd be like, genuinely, I was on drugs. I figured out how to create natural drugs within my physical vessel. And this is something that has been scientifically proven. When we do this for long enough, the after effect of doing this creates endorphins. You do this for long enough, you create endorphins. Enough endorphins equal dimethyltryptamine. Dimethyltryptamine being released in the brain is what helps our third eye to be able to see. It's what many people are taking these drugs for. Many people are saying, oh, they need to do this so they can see. But do you see what I'm getting at here, my family? I said that this was a healthy addiction when it wasn't. I said that this was a healthy habit when it wasn't. Now, knowing I want to work out because I want to work out because it's important to my body is different than me considering, which I've said hundreds of times, that the gym is my church. Oh, I'm going to church. Like, even if I was fighting with a significant other in the past, because I was a personal trainer for over a decade. Like, there's been many relationships. I'm just like, I'm going to church. Like, if you're coming with me, you got to leave that crap here. Like, this is very important to me. This is the gym is my church. I want to, because I knew that from my level of sadness, anger, fear, all this stuff, and the victimhood, and my weak boundaries, because we point the finger outwards. We're like boom, 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 boom. We're always pointing the finger outwards when we really need to find the answer right here, right here, right here, my friend. I promise you. The second you take away this they, when we stop saying they, oh, that I was feeling so high after my workout, and then they did this, and they did that. Well, maybe this lover, maybe this consort, maybe this significant other in your reality saw that you were basically doing drugs, but the drugs that you were doing were completely legal. And the drugs that you were doing were working out. Because I got in many an argument or a fight of like, how dare you, when I'm full-blown inner child, how dare you throw a wrench in the machinery of my inner child machine? I was in this like destructive masculine or like distorted feminine modality. I went to the gym. It took me all this time to get my energy right, to come back with my energy inner child and blissful and loving and divine. And you bring this crap up to me when you can see I'm smiling again. How dare you? But that's the thing. This was because they were sad. But what if also they were able to see like, wait, no, this is cope. They're high on copium right now. They're completely chock full of copium right now. And if I get them back into actually sitting with this and asking questions, because that's what the dark night of the soul was for us, my family. We had to have something traumatic happen. So we would sit down, our Saturn return, whatever it was. So we could sit down and say, why is this happening? So we could see that our third eye was on. So we could see that I can read past lifetimes. I can see my past lifetimes. I can control my dreams. I can become lucid. All the gifts and the highs that came from being able to look at our darkness, being able to look at our sadness, and to turn that shadowy truth of how do I truly become happy? How do I truly turn on my third eye? How do I truly take control over this physical reality? It's by having the roots of the tree, the shadow. So what's under the ground, the underworld, Pluto, what's taking place right now, Pluto, the underworld, the ocean. This is all connected to the ocean. Because if you go and do the research in the old ways, it's the ocean that represented the underworld, my family. And this is still in some religions right now, and dogmas right now, and archetypal functionalities right now. So if Pluto is what's actually always under the water, it represents the underworld itself. This isn't hell. This is this different reality. And I see how this stuff keeps coming up in the daily reading. So I'm reaching over here because the cards are over here. But I see what keeps coming up. I see how it's like balancing the feminine, balancing the masculine. The masculine's clashing. Why is the masculine clashing within myself? Because Jupiter just entered Chiron. Also, there was this collision with Jupiter and Chiron. So the person, the energy that was pretending to be God, the old white man with a beard, when anybody with like, some essence of feeling and empathy and I don't want to badmouth anybody. I love you guys. It's all you. It's all you. All I know is the person that was pretending to be God, the people that were pretending to be God have been exposed, and they've now accepted their karma, plain and simple. Because that's what that represented. So the people that you see that are really struggling right now, they had to be forced into this. They haven't been preparing for what was coming. They didn't want to let go of control. They wanted to control. They wanted to control people around them. They wanted to control money around them. They wanted to control. Control's done. The trident's gone. We need actual tools to be able to flip from fear to courage. We need actual things. I can't any longer go, I'm sad. I'm off balance because I'm sad. We go to the gym. Now I'm high on endorphins and oxytocin. There we go. Alexander's back. No, not really. Not really. Because the root vegetable that's in my consciousness somewhere, that's in my heart somewhere, that's in a past lifetime somewhere, that truly is the sadness that needs to be plucked and looked at and said, I see the innocence in you. I see why you were there. You needed to be there. I asked for you because I needed to ask for you, because if not, would I have woken up with my big, gigantic brain and my super old soul? No, we'd be creating the new Macintoshes and these other things. We would be out there doing this other stuff that it was not our jobs to do, my family. It was our jobs to show the children who are very confused right now because of another poll, which is called gender, which we're going to talk about in another video. But that's the 7th law of Hermeticism, or the 1st, depending on how you look, how we use one law against the other. That's a conversation for another day that's upsetting many people, and many people feel unsafe to be able to talk about it. We need to feel safe, which I do. I see this. We need to feel safe to be able to speak our truth. And that has been one of the most upsetting things for me in the past 6 months, is people having to lie by omission based upon the fact that they know if they say what they really feel, even not even what they think, what they feel, if they say what they know from their perception of reality to be true, they'll be canceled. They'll be fired. They'll be smashed against the rocks asunder. Because it's not that case. This cancel culture, the one thing I'll let you know about that, this cancel culture that wants people to think that they can be canceled. Being in a different system, like the system that Alexander's created for himself. Anybody out there can create the system I've created for themselves, or better. I don't see myself as cancelable. I just don't. I know I'm not. If I let you know that my philosophy, philosophia, philo being love, Sophia being divine wisdom. As a philosopher, I think that I need to be able to speak about my view, and you need to be able to speak about your view. So maybe if my view is off, you can change my view. What if I hear that 10 other people have a different view than me? It's going to make me look at my view. But if everybody's just like, this is the narrative, and you have to do this, you have to say this, and you need to do this, or you're a bad person. You have to do this, or you're racist. You have to do this, or you're a homophobe. You're sexist. You're this. You're that. Oh God. I don't want to go on that tangent right now. I've wanted to talk to you guys about that stuff for months, but for the first month and a half, 2 months, I would literally just turn into a complete ball of rage and be screaming. And I'm sure some of the patrons are laughing right now, because just beginning to have this conversation about the attack on gender that's taking place in the physical reality, having this conversation with them, I know that me raging out, like if I ever get overly passionate and I'm like yelling at the camera, that's not my intention. And I know that that intention is going to have less people get to the truth than more people. I even heard somebody say that the other day when I was doing the video, and I was talking about like the distortions of watching porno. And like, I saw his energy afterwards. He couldn't even look at me. and I freaking love you, brother, so much. I really do. I love you all so much. But he was like, oh. And I can feel already two people thinking I'm talking about them. I'm not talking about you. I feel the person that I'm talking about is not watching this right now. But either way, these narratives, my intention is never to yell. My intention is never to have this come out thrashing. It's as we fine tune the laser or the blade that is passion, that is fury, because fury comes from the grandmother frequency. Fury is, what are you doing to the children? What am I watching right now? You got to be kidding me. That's that little old lady, even though she's like hunched over, she's counting her days left. People run from that level of fury. They're like, oh my God, grandma's coming. Okay? Because they know that she can see, because that's wisdom. So they don't like that. They don't like that. But getting off that subject and getting on to just getting through this last subject, which I already talked about, this whole healthy habits. We can't really have any habits anymore. Like, we can do things every day. I can do things every day. Let me talk about myself. I won't say we. Before that, and better for the people that trigger. I'm not, like I said, I'm not trying to trigger anybody. This shift on my dissociation, which you all do this in some way, shape, or form. I'm not addicted to that. It's just a little bit. Oh, honey, I'm just going to go play video games for an hour. I'm not addicted to it. I'm just going to go do this. This really helps me at the end of my day. I really need to. It could be a walk. It could be taking a walk at the end of the day. It could be the most simple thing ever. It could be going and watching the sunset. What I want you to get to is, even if it's nature, to truly get to the hidden root vegetable and pluck it out, and to truly turn this root vegetable back into a seed, transmute this back into its soul essence. We can't be putting things on top of it anymore. To truly find that which is, and that which we are hiding by going on the walk, going to the gym, smoking the ganja, going doing this thing over here, working on our lucidity so we can get out of our body while we're dreaming, so we can be high on life. I can't even count you how many times I was high on life because I had a flying dream when I was really working on my lucidity. I felt like an immovable object and an unstoppable force for at least 3 days after a flying dream. I was just like, I was on drugs. I really was. Maybe to get to that level, maybe to have a flying dream and remember a dream like that, maybe there was a massive DMT release in my brain. All I know is what I recognize then and what I see now. Okay? And what I see now is, if we want to do that, I'm not saying not to do that stuff. Like, I'm not saying not to take medication. I'm not saying you can't ever smoke ganja again. I'm saying that there are times of action and there are times of peace. And I promise you, Native Americans were not waking up in the morning smoking a bowl of ganja. And the people that have been doing these medicines, these sacred medicines like mushrooms, I can promise you, they were not being like, oh, let me take just take a cap every few hours. I almost made a judgmental face. I think I did make a judgmental face. I am sorry. I love you guys. I know that's not the answer. I promise you, that's not the answer. Disassociating is not the answer. Hey, how you doing? I'm fine. And like that, just dead behind the eyes. There is so much dead behind the eyes in Sedona right now. I'm not judging. It makes me sad. We're supposed to be teaching. We're supposed to all be working together and teaching the children. And this is why the children are kind of a mess right now. They are. Because they're coming into a multidimensional reality. And they don't realize that why they don't know who they are, what they are. There's kids out there right now think they're the front of a ship. Want to hear the sad truth why they think they're the front of a ship? Probably not. Probably not. Because they're either the mermaid that was nailed to the ship as a trophy, or they are the wood itself that was the dryad functionality. Archetypally, these children are so confused. They come in, they don't know what they're seeing or what's taking place. And there's one higher self. This is why I don't use this terminology here on the channel. I say other dimensional version, because we need the multidimensionality of the whole tree in the center. I need to know that this tree does not just move to this ascended reality. Part of this is having things happen. When the things happen, I pull those up as nutrients, as water from the roots of my tree. It moves through my tree, and that goes out the branches to become fruit. You need the roots to create the fruit. You need the shadow to create the light, to create the seeds. I know this for myself. I can promise you, out of anything that I've told you that's come from spirit, that is the most important thing I've ever told you here on this channel. And please, if you haven't sat with that long enough yet, please sit with this whole multidimensionality. And if you don't like the thought of the tree, then don't look at it as a tree. But I can promise you that the tree makes sense out of it, and it's in all the religions and all the dogmas. Buddha found his power at the Bodhi tree and died at the Bodhi tree. Krishna and Jesus were crucified to the tree. Quetzalcoatl was crucified to a tree. Three gods all over the world. 3 gods all over the world were crucified to a tree. The Norse, Yggdrasil, Odin, which is Mercury, which is Thoth, which is Hermes. Odin found his power where? At the tree of Yggdrasil. The one card in the entire tarot out of 78 cards that is connected to an archetypal functionality, which is Odin, the hanged man. The hanged man is Odin. It's said to be Odin sitting there at the tree until he found enlightenment, fasting. Could make this stuff up, but why would you want to? Even just as I said this right now, I don't know if you guys are seeing anything behind me, but a big light just went across the wall. In my periphery, as I look here, my rounded eye, I can literally see things with my third eye on, with my eyes open. That's pretty much it today, guys. A lot of what I talked about, I don't even have an answer for you. I'm letting you know my process, because I know with my process, I'm finding the ability to use transmutation, real transmutation, alchemy of the mind. I'm using the ability to do more alchemy of the mind that I used to choose not to do before. I would disassociate, go play a video game. I would disassociate, go to the gym. I would disassociate, go smoke a cigarette. I would disassociate, go smoke a doobie with a friend. I would disassociate, go find a friend that was also wanting to smoke doobies, because I felt weird to smoke alone. After the doobie was, you have that friend. You ever have that friend that goes, whenever I get drunk, does anyone have a Newport? Does anyone go to Newey? Whenever I do this, I need to do that. And when I do that, I need that. And when I need that, I need that. Wait, what happened? Oh, see, here's what happened. I had a beer. The beer made me need a Newport. The Newport made me crave pizza. The pizza made me want chocolate. The chocolate made me want a doobie. The doobie made me want another cigarette. What the F.com. Okay? No more. That doesn't work. Has that been working? Okay, somebody raise your hand and be like, that worked for me. Disassociating has been working great, Alexander. And stand in front of me with proper posture, with the mind and the spirit and the body that you wish to have in this present moment. We are born looking like our parents. When we die, looking like our thoughts. I firmly believe that. This is why sometimes you see somebody and you're like, how the heck did they age that? Like I knew them for this long, and for 5 years they didn't age. And they went through this breakup or this thing happened, and within 2 months they aged 6 years. Because they don't know how to flip this pole. And they don't realize that if they knew how to flip that pole before that breakup happened, they wouldn't have aged a day. Maybe they would have gotten younger when that person left their field. So I hope and I know that for many of you, this information helped. And it's not about triggering. It's about triggering a change. Because I know one thing for sure. I can let you know about my process and let you know about my process and work on me. But until we all are doing this work together, until we all are able to not sit on a plateau and know that my philosophy now, everything I'm talking about you now, as much as that works for me now, maybe that's different in the future. Maybe that's different in the next reality, on the next station. I don't know. That's part of the ascension process, is not being stuck in one modality of, well, you told me to do this. Yeah, I did. Because that's what worked for me then, in that distorted, sad state. But in this state of less sad, I know that what I'm watching this whole world around me do, and the world of Sedona, the world that there's people out there right now, you're like, oh, one day I'll get there. Your happiness isn't here, my family. Your happiness is here and here. If you can find it there, if you can create it there, if you can control these elements of the mind and the heart. I have so much freaking love for you guys. I really do. I just, seeing what I've seen in the past few days and noticing as I do my daily recaps to further control time. Once again, another thing I'd love to share you with out of my process, which comes from Thoth. At the end of the day, no matter how good you were that day, you want to find something that you could have improved upon. Because by being in the present moment and going back into the past, it improves your future version. So we can shift our future version from the present moment by looking back on the past and saying, yeah, you know what? I gave that bum an apple and $2, but now I see like that person really, like they truly needed the money. I should have given them $5, $10. I could afford it. It's like I gave enough to feel okay. Because like you guys feel everything. How many times do you see the person, they're begging and you're like, you don't need it. Why are you there, man? Like save that spot for somebody that actually needs to panhandle. Like, why are you there, dude? And we don't even think of giving that person, that guy or gal, $1. We don't even think about it. Because we feel it in every cell of our body. We're like, what are you doing? Like, you own a house down the street, dude. Not trying to trigger anybody once again. I'm just saying, when we look at the end of the day, we see something we could have said better, something we could have done better, somewhere we could have pushed ourselves. You shift the future. And when you shift the future, you're shifting the now. So, to the most glorious, loving, sovereign now that could ever behold in our level of boundaries and understanding in the present moment, I wish for that and better and better and better. Spirit, universe, original creator of my soul, very powerful words, original creator of my soul, you're doing a great job with this reality. I want this or better. I love you guys. I know you got this. And brutal. It was brutal. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't even want to sit here. Anybody who's about to stop doing that thing, whether it's tobacco or porn or ganja, whatever it is, I'm not going to sit here and tell you it's easy, because this time my soul knew, my mind knew it was real. And it was really hard. It was really, normally when I quit smoking cigarettes, because I've been on and off against smoking since I was, I don't even know, like probably like 16. But normally when I've told you guys 100 times, 21-day challenge. You go 3 weeks, I'd have, day 3 would be really tough. Day 7, really tough. Day 10, 14, it was pretty bad. But then once you get around the corner, then once you get to 22 days, you're fine. I was literally soaking the bed with sweat, like I was like strung out on like a serious drug. Just quitting tobacco and occasional ganj and 3 beers a week. So I don't, some of you, I really, nobody's walked a mile in your shoes except for you. Nobody has. And nobody truly can. But I'll tell you, I send you all the support in the world. I know it's possible. But when your mind knows it's real, and I'm not saying this so you don't do it, I'm saying this to let you know why so many people wanted to click out of this video and all this information, because they don't think it's possible. And I know how strong my willpower is. And I did it. I didn't have to put a patch on. I didn't have to do this and do this thing, do that thing. And maybe it was more difficult this time because of the type of tobacco it was, or because it was organic, or because they were unfiltered, like literally like cowboy cigarettes, just like hand rolling cigarettes with no filter. Maybe that made it harder than the Marlboro mediums I smoked when I was a 23-year-old girl. Sorry. I'll bring some light to this. I hope you guys laugh. I know it's intense. But I'll tell you this. I saw that I was replacing one addiction with another addiction. I'm just going to quit smoking cigarettes, but start smoking cloves and do this thing. I'm going to start doing this, but I'm going to start doing that. Oh, I can't do this. And blah, 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 blah. That's why everything had to go. Everything had to go. Because I remembered it. I noticed when the beer had to go, even though it was just 2 or 3 a week, and not in one sitting. Like, I mean, like, oh, it was a certain day. I didn't work out that day because I'm very strict with my stuff. I can have a beer this day. I'm with these friends. I'm on the grill. It's like the whole Pavlov's dog. The bell goes off and the dog's mouth starts to salivate. They go, bell, give the treat, bell, give the treat, bell, give the treat, bell, give the treat. So I'm on the grill and like grilling. Grilling a barbecue, you can have a beer. So I'm drinking the Stella, and then like, it's just like probably like day 30. No tobacco. And I go, boom. And then I go, and my hand's empty. And I was like, fudge. And then I realized like I really was having these. I realized that if the beer wasn't there, then the thought of the cigarette going like this when it wasn't even in my hand, but I was so used to being on the grill, sip, puff, sip, puff. So the Pavlov's dog, the beer was the bell. And then the bell rang, and I was looking for the cigarette that had been gone for a month. But then I noticed that after this happened, after my hand raised and it was empty, it was like time and time again that night, I was really having a tough go at it. So what I'm getting at is, don't remove one addiction and replace it with another. Really, truly go through it. But I hope that for some of you, you at least can identify the disassociation and what is an addiction. Like, I know I'm addicted to dark chocolate. I know I am. But it's okay. I know I am. But don't just, I'm not addicted to that. Whenever you start like, it's almost like that scene in the movie or whatever or like when that friend goes, oh, I'm not addicted to it. And you go, no one said you were addicted to it, bro. But like now we all think you're addicted to it when you just blurt out, I'm not addicted to it. And you are addicted. There's something you're addicted to that's probably a healthy habit, but is it truly finding the happiness that you really desire? That's all. I just want to sit with this process. Yeah, I know that by my sitting with this process, I'm finding all these healings, and I hope this video helped. That's why I made it. It's tomorrow the 1st. I'll see you guys tomorrow. And patrons, I'll see you on Sunday. So you get a hat trick. Patrons get a hat trick. Everybody else, I'll see you here tomorrow for your Zodiac readings, April 1st. No Fool's Day jokes. The Fool is the new beginning. Card 0 in the tarot. I love you guys so much. Alyssa says, I'm addicted to vacuuming. It's the same thing. Well, when something upsets us, I do that too. That's when you go clean the kitchen, you go clean things, you water in the plants, because you're grooming the reality. That's a real thing, sister. I love you guys so much. Thank you all for being here. Sorry I wasn't as engaged with the chat feed as I normally am. I wanted to get this point across eloquently. I love you all so much, and I'll see you tomorrow. Cheers, my family. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being on this journey with me.